Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I'm going to show you demo about displaying data in collection view, then implementing pull to refresh using MVVM structure. So let's go through coding. So here I have created a new project. In that, like, I have added view model and the model folder. So whatever the UI portion that we going to add in view folder, and that business logic that we will add in a view model folder, and we will connect view and view model with the binding context, and whatever the model that we going to add in model folder. Okay, so here is right now it's like a default template. Like when we create a new MAUI project, that time it's like this is the default template. So now let's add some model. I'm going to display some like student list in a collection view. So let's first add that student model. And like in that I'm just going to use like student name, and that student address property. Okay, now I'm just for displaying this student information, just add new view. It's called like something like a student list. Or so click on like here in .NET MAUI you can see like a .NET MAUI content page. So just add from there. Okay, so here we are going to display UI in this student list view, and in a view model we are just going to create class like name of student list view model. So in this class we are just going to add all the business logic, like if you are using API, then fetching data from API, then displaying that in UI. Okay, so here we going to add all the properties related to UI that we going to display in UI. So for binding like a student list view and student list view model, so for binding this we need something to bind, right? So for that we just here on the code behind of student list view we just going to add binding context, like this dot binding context is equal to new whatever the view model name that we going to refer. Okay, so now that student list UI is like that UI binding context pointing to student list view model, means whatever the property we here declare that we can access to student list view. Okay, and here I'm just going to add compile time binding, means like I'm just setting this page data type as a student list view model. So means we can access all the property of view model in this UI. So here like it's not suggesting me that student list view UI, so just let's add namespace. View model. here just you need to specify that where your view model is exists. So you can copy that namespace from here like this, what wherever your view model is exists, and just add here. For adding namespace, you would, so it's like a XML namespace colon like your whatever the folder that your view models is exists. Now you can access like this. So now whatever the property I create in student list view model, that I can access here. So for demo I just going to create one property, and I'm just going to define some default name. And the same thing I'm just going to display here. So here I can see that name property. And let's add another entry, like I just want to show you something like on the change of name, like it's going to reflect in label or not. So let's sorry, I need to point that student list view for navigation. Just let me add that in. So here in app.jml I'm just going to, either you can add here like whatever the page you want to navigate, or if you want to use app cell, then here you can add like whatever the page that you're going to. So on app cell, so my view, like my UI is exist in view folder, so we need to point to view here, and after that I can access this student list view. And root, like you can specify any name here, like a student list, whatever name you want to specify. So now let's run the application. Here like I didn't implemented that I notify property change interface to like whenever I change something, like here I just binded name on entry. So means whatever I'm going to type, that not going to reflect in this label. First time it going to display like whatever the name I am specify here, like Xamarin coding. So it's going to display in entry as well as label. But if I change the tags from this entry, means whatever I type in this text box, it's not going to reflect here because we didn't implement it I notify property change interface. So I will show you like let me like first run application. After that I will show you like how it's going to work. Okay, so here it's like it displaying Xamarin coding, but if I change here, then it's not going to reflect here because we didn't implement it I notify property change interface to let UI know like I have modified something, so just reflect that in UI. So right now it's not going to work. Okay, so let's now add that I notify property change interface. So I'm going to just add base view model, and in that I'm going to implement I notify property change interface, because we need to use this base view model in all the pages. Like if I implement I notify property change each and every view model, like it's not a good solution. So let's like just create one class, base class, and in that just you add whatever the property you needed. And just implement here like I notify property change interface. I'm just going to copy this base view model from here, like this thing. Right now I needed like is busy, is refreshing, and some other properties. So this on property change is going to invoke like whenever property change in change, that time this is going to invoke. Okay, now let's implement this base view model in a student list. Okay, I'm just going to remove this code, and I'm just going to create getter and setter property of name. So now this will like this. Here I have specify set property, and reference will be this name. Means whenever the property, like whenever the tags change of this variable, it's going to invoke this set property. And here like if the value is different, then it's going to invoke on property change method, and this will reflect that change in the property. So now let's run the application. So now it's like whatever we type in this name text box, it's going to reflect in label. Okay, so here like a text box, and now whatever I type here, it's going to display in label. Okay, so like that you can like bind property like from like a view model to view. So whatever the business logic you can specify in this view model, and that you can display here in student list. Okay, so now we going to display student list here. I'm just going to remove now this all property and just add okay, I just add title in and I'll remove. Okay, so now add some dummy data in student list view model, and that student list we going to display in student list UI. So let's create one observable collection property, and type of that observable collection of property so this, if you see, this observable collection is implementing I notify I notify collection change, I notify property change. Means whenever we add or removing record from student list, so this will automatically going to reflect in UI. Means when we add that record in collection view, then collection view automatically going to reflect that data. Okay, so now all the dummy record is added. Now that student list we going to display in here, like either you can use collection view, list view, or any bindable layout. Means you can use even stack layout also. Like you can use stack layout like this. Here you just need to specify bindable layout dot item source, and here okay, that and here in stack layout another property is called bindable layout dot item template. In here, in that you can specify any layout that you want to based on the format you can design here. So let me just display name. Okay, so let's run the application. Right now I'm not able to see that property suggestion because here I didn't specify the data type of template. So you can specify that which type of object here you are using. Like a student list is using student model, so that you can specify here in data template. After that you can see here it's a throwing error like a bindable property name not found, because we are using compile time binding. Here we have specified data type, so here also we need to specify which type of student list is. So right now it's a student list is the type of student model. So here you can specify x colon data type is equal to student model, and this student model exists in this model folder. So we need to add that namespace. And after that you can use this model. Now it will suggest property name, address, email. So that's why it's a benefit of compile time binding. Means if we not use compile time binding, then we if we mention some wrong name, then it's not going to throw error and it's hard to debug. So better to use this compile time binding. So it will suggest if we specify some wrong name, then it will throw some error. Yeah, okay, so it's displaying here is the student list. So you can use any bindable layout like a stack layout, collection view, anything. Just so let's now use collection view. sorry, I just added that inside the collection view. Okay, let me rerun the application. So like that way you can use any bindable layout. Grid view also you can use here, or list view. Yeah, so it's displaying like a record using bindable stack layout, also collection view also. But like a collection view has a lots of feature that we can access, so like it's good to use collection view. So let me remove this bindable stack layout and just stick to like this list collection view. Let me display another property also. Okay, like if you like here every time I'm just specifying font size and font attribute. Like if you add this all style, like whatever the style needed for like a header, title, subtitle, like here you can use like a static resource and the name of any label style, so that you can add that style in here in like a resource. Then here is the styles.xml. so here all the style will exist, like activity indicator, then border, box view, checkbox. So like that way you can also use label style. Here the default, if you see here, target type label means this style is going to implement for all the label. Means if I change anything like default font size to 16, then it's going to change. Means it's like a default label style. So if you like want to, you can add here another style also, like label header style, label subtitle style, like that way. You just need to like add the style and here specify the key, like label, subtitle, something like that, whatever the name you want, that you can add. And here you can add that style of the label, like I need like label subtitle, like a label bold subtitle, and we just add here one attribute called okay. Now let's access this label bold subtitle here. So like that way you can, like instead of specifying every time font size and font attribute, you can use that you can add that style in here style.xml full that file, and in that you just if you want to apply style in like entire that control like a label control, entry control, then you no need to specify here key. But if you do not want to apply like whenever it's necessary, like whenever it's required, then you can just use this property as per need. Like as per need you want to use property, then you can use here specify the key. Okay, so now let's implement pull to refresh here. Like when I pull down, that time it's going to refresh the data. So before that I am just going to display activity indicator. Like when the data is loading, that time we just display activity indicator. So when the is busy property is going to true, that time it's going to visible. So here in student list view model, I am just going to add here for temporary displaying loader, I am just going to add task.delay. So it's going to display loader for like half second. So here you can specify API call, means when the page is loaded, that time call the API and like set is busy flag to true. When the API response came, then that time is busy flag going to be false. So till that like API request time, it's going to display the loader in UI. Okay, I think that second we need to increase it. Okay, sorry, I just forgot to add that task await, means like till the response came we need to wait. And let's increase to 1 second so it will load loader. So here you can just specify the API call. Okay, so it's displaying loader. Now implement like when we do pull down, then that time we just refresh this data. So for that in MAUI, in Xamarin or MAUI, that refresh view is exists. So you can use this refresh view and add that any layout inside the refresh view, not like collection view only. You can use any layout inside the refresh view. So that the refresh view content like inside the refresh view, like you can add any layout. And after that we are using MVVM structure. So here there was a command property, means like when I do pull to down, then whatever the command I specify here, it going to invoke. So for that, let's first create a refresh command here. And this refresh command is going to call add student list method. So this method will like again clear the list and again add same list. And let's convert this to task. Okay, now specify here like that refresh command, and we have like here is refreshing when we like when till the data is loading, we can you can display the loader here. So we already have is refreshing property in base view model, so that's specified here. Okay, so here we just call is refreshing to true, and when the data is loaded, that after that we again set it to false. Okay, so it's like here when I do pull down to refresh, it's displaying this. It's again refreshing. If you see here, like when I do pull down to refresh, it's going to invoke this refresh command, and after that it's going to call add student list, and here it's going to set is busy flag true. So right now it's displaying like a two loader. So let's do one thing, just set is refreshing to false here, and just call this add student list method. And here another like warning, it's showing me as a like it's a we need to add await here, but it's a like a constructor, so we cannot add await here. So let's do one thing, just wrap this contain into task, and here you can add like API call. So just assume this await as an API call. After that, like once API is once API call response came, after that we going to add this stuff in UI. So this task.run is like it's going to work in background. So once the response came, after that we need to, for reflecting that stuff in UI, we can use like a device dot begin invoke in main thread. Means now the response came from API, now bind that response to UI. Okay, and if you see here, it's like this device dot begin invoke on main thread, it's like a throwing error. Sorry, it's showing warning. It's like this method is deprecated. So instead of that, we need to use like a dispatcher dot dispatch. So for that, you can use like application dot current dot dispatcher dot dispatch, and in that whatever the content that you need to reflect in UI, that stuff you can add here. And again just make this property as a void and remove this task, because we added task here. So now that API call like response came, after that here the logic related to adding data in like the student list object. So it's like it going to refresh every time. It's going to like a call observables change every time whenever the student list is added. So instead of that, we use like a student list, we can use like something like student list dot add range. So it's not exist in this you cannot use that in observable collection, but there was another some MVVM helper plugin that providing like observable range collection, so you can use that. I need to install that plugin, but you can install that MVVM helper plugin. In that there was a observable range collection property, so you no need to use for each loop and like that. You directly you can add that add range. Okay, so now let's run this application. Like when this method call, like it's going to set this is bg flag as a true. Then after that, once a response came, it just again set this is bg property to false. Okay, so now okay, so now like when we do pull down to refresh, it's that time this it's only going to display one loader, that is busy, that activity indicator that we have added, and this is refreshing, we instantly set as a false. So like that we no need to display both the loader, we can display only one. Okay, so let's now add another command that going to execute when we click on collection view item. So for that, let's just create one command. And this command is type of like when we click on this collection view item, it's like a type of student model. So here just specify the type of object, and here the parameter name, any parameter name you can specify. And this command we need to specify in UI, like on the click of this stack layout. So here tab gesture recognizer has a command property. So here just specify source, so it's like let me minimize this so you can see this. So this relative source, like here if you see register type, means it's going to check one level up in like a student list view model, and after it's going to find selected item command that we have here. And here like when I click, so we need to pass command parameter, so I'm just going to pass current object here. So when I click on particular item, it's going to invoke selected item command. You can also use like this collection view has some property like selection change command parameter. If you prefer that, you can use that one also. Okay, so we just okay, so let's run the application. So when I click on particular item, it's going to display alert like selected student name is. Okay, so it's like a selected student name is like whatever the item you specify. So you can, right now I'm just displaying this data, you can navigate to other pages, and in that you can access this student lead detail object and you can display. So in next video I'm just going to display like how you can navigate this using cell with the parameter passing, means how you can pass its student detail. I will show you both like passing that student model to constructor or using a query parameter like a cell query parameter. Okay, so that's all for like this MVVM. You can write if you have any query you can write in comment, and thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.